Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey Success Stories podcast. I'm Jennifer Sheffel, your host, and today I have Janet Carlson. She is with Vertex Surgical Solutions. She's the founder and CEO. Welcome, Janet.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And guys, wait till you find out what she does. You're going to want to definitely look her up and to go and visit her. So today we'll be, of course, talking about her business, her journey to business ownership, of course, those challenges and best practices that she's learned along the way, because there's always a journey within the story. So, of course, she'll also share a sneak peek into what is it really like to be a business owner, because it's not something that just happens overnight.
No.
And of course, building and operating a business, let alone a surgical solution, like, yes, we're in for a true treat. Of course, if this is your first time to the show, make sure that you like and subscribe because you'll want to get notifications every time we have a new episode drop like this one. So, Janet, of course, welcome to the show and thank you for
Thank you.
taking the time today. Tell us
My
a bit
pleasure.
about yourself, that journey, and what
hmm
is Vertex Surgical Solutions?
So I'm Janet Carlson. I'm a registered nurse by training. And so I like to lead with that so people know my mindset right off the bat. Nurses are very unique individuals. So um, whether you take that good or bad, I'm just going to leave it at that. So, registered nurse. I've been in the ASC space as a nurse myself. I started in the early 2000s working as a PACU recovery nurse in a multi-specialty ASC in Virginia, and then started into my leadership journey. And I led hospital departments in large hospitals, but really got disenfranchised with healthcare systems and returned to the ASC space in 2017 in a leadership role where I took over an existing ASC in South Carolina that really was totally prepared for the next steps. And so I was able to be part of that team to take them to newer heights and new achievements. And so we focused on orthopedic, total joint replacement, sports medicine, pain management, especially for chronic pain solutions, and high acuity spine, neurosurgery, orthospine type of procedures. So that's been basically the reintroduction for me into the ASC space by leading one as a CEO. And so I decided that there was a hole in the market where most solutions for ASCs are sometimes a joint venture with a health system and with the surgeons. That's one of the structures. But the other structure that's very common today in the United States is a group of surgeons that own an ASC, but partner with a management company as an MSO. And what that does is allows them to sell shares of their ASC in exchange for somebody to come and basically run the business for them. Um, and so there really wasn't something in between those two extremes. And so that's where I saw an opportunity in the market and been thinking about it for quite a long time because I feel like physicians in healthcare today and surgeons specifically in the United States are very disenfranchised with their current profession. And I've gone from my focus of bedside nursing and laying hands and taking care of the patients, which I absolutely love, but I've changed my focus now to take care of the surgeons. The surgeons are the ones that are the producer. And if you're not taking care of the producer, you don't even have a product. So I shifted my focus and decided that it would be something to dip my toe in the water and see if I could help surgeons either maintain their autonomy or regain their autonomy and independence in practice. And the vehicle for that, Jennifer, is usually via a solution that includes an ambulatory surgery center. And the reason that's important is that if a surgeon is going to leave a health system, hang out their own shingle,
Yep.
try to go it alone independently in practice, they're probably going to succeed. But the thing is if they need block time to do surgeries, an ASC option is ideal because if it fits the anesthesia selection criteria of the ASC, 85% of surgeries and interventions and procedures should and could be done in an ambulatory setting. And so, if a physician can have a share ownership position in an ASC, they're pretty much guaranteed what's called block time. So, they are guaranteed a spot in the OR multiple times a month where they can book their cases into it. ASCs are much more affordable, very approachable, and they are flat organizations typically. And so we can get the patients seen sooner and have outstanding, reproducible, excellent clinical outcomes at a much lower cost. So it's sort of a triple win for everybody. But I saw the hole in the market where there wasn't somebody that is willing to stand up and say, hey, I can help you stay independent, or I can help you bring partners on to keep you independent, and we can bring additional surgeons on to grow the business and optimize the ASC right now that is maybe operating at 60% capacity. We can get it up to 75, 80%. And that way everybody wins. So the ASC space is dynamic and it is only growing as more cases are migrating out of hospitals and into the correct site of service, which is an ambulatory surgery center.
So that answers my one question. What is an ASC? Because some of
Mhm.
us don't know what ASC stands for. So
Yes,
thank you for that.
sure.
So, how many surgeons, and I can probably guess, but the road of independence as a surgeon,
Hmm.
is this like a huge new wave because of our healthcare system? Or I guess tell us a little bit more of like, what does the future kind of hold?
Sure. This is something that's probably always been there simmering underneath the surface, but it's now come to fruition where so what's surprising me, Jennifer, are the fact that younger surgeons that are just out of fellowship and have just passed their boards, they are the ones leaving employment and looking for independent opportunities. And that has surprised me, frankly, because I thought it would be maybe mid-career
Yeah.
folks, surgeons, but it's everybody. I've even had late careerists that decided they didn't want the grind anymore of being employed by the health system with the on-call schedule requirements of
Yeah.
employment. And, it's a quality of life issue because they're already at max capacity with how many
Mhm.
patients they see in clinic, how many surgeries they can fit in a day, and then to turn around and be on call, it just really impacts their quality of life. And so a lot of physicians, the younger generations are saying the work-life integration is the most important to them,
Yes.
and it's not the big
Yes.
paycheck. And so that's where ASCs are an elegant solution for that. So that they can keep operating, they can take care of their patient load, they can be reimbursed for the excellent care they provide, but they also have more reliable schedule and they're not going to be, being pulled back and forth, covering call all the time.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about everyone else that's listening, but I know that myself, when I go for a procedure, the last thing I want is to be on the 20th hour of that
Correct.
surgeon
That's right.
because they've been burning it at every single
Exactly.
angle. So this is absolutely amazing. One of the things that you had mentioned to me is that there are ASCs everywhere. And you
Everywhere.
don't just stick to South Carolina, you've also
No.
gone other areas. So
Yes.
tell us, what
Yes.
else are you doing with these ASCs?
Well, there's 6,000 Medicare approved ASCs in the United States.
Wow.
So that should give everybody a good number. And it's easy to break down by state, the ones that are very prolific in the ASC space, and then the others that have very few, basically because they're restricted by what's called certificate of need law. And that's where it's almost an antitrust position where your competition can deny your application for an ASC development and basically shut you down. So that's gaining a lot of popularity in the ambulatory surgery space. But the 6,000 that have the Medicare PTAN number and the Medicare blessing to take care of Medicare recipients, um, those are like independent hospitals, and they're the little engine that could. And I tell people that COVID had only one silver lining, and the only one of it was that the United States in general learned what an ASC was,
Mm.
because we decompressed the hospital ORs
Yeah.
by moving cases into the ASC space so that they weren't having beds from the ORs in the hospital occupied by elective ambulatory surgical patients. Instead, they could keep those beds for the very critically ill patients from the ER. And so ASCs became a place where we could continue to treat patients in this very safe setting, and that we are already prepared to take care of the patient, entire surgical event. We just typically don't keep patients overnight and have meals and things like a hospital does. But we adapted there as well. And so that's the beauty of ASCs. But the 6,000 that I'm talking about, the one trend that's important to note is that the majority of ASCs,
Mm.
I want to say 63% today, are still independently owned. And so that is a trend that encourages me and lets me know that I'm definitely working in the proper space. Because there is that pride of ownership and autonomy. And the autonomy is important in healthcare, Jennifer, because you want the clinician that's going to be working on you, the surgeon that's going to be performing your surgery. You would like her to be able to treat you with the best therapeutic intervention that they have the skill set for, and allow you the latest and greatest and most efficacious implant or solution. And so when you are not independent, usually the large health system is going to tell you you can only use these products, you can only do these cases, you can only have this much block time available in the main OR. And the autonomy is so important because that's how your surgeon trained. And that's how they, have put themselves and held themselves to such a higher standard to be board certified. You want them to have that freedom in practice. And so the thing that ASCs afford is the freedom from the corporate practice of medicine. And
That's
that's just increasing in America,
yeah.
along with all of the private equity interests in healthcare. You have people that are finance folks looking to appreciate a larger margin, but they drive decisions clinically, which I am completely against.
Yeah. So one of the cool things that you've also done is even helped some of the other ASCs in different
Yes.
areas.
Yeah.
So lean in a little bit about your path because
Hmm.
operations, okay,
Is key.
surgeons, yes, surgeons are wonderful as far as doing their trade. But when it
Hmm.
comes to also doing business,
Completely
that's
different language.
yes,
So
yeah.
I tell people I speak multiple languages, and one of them is surgeon. I'm fluent in it. Uh, the other one is anesthesia. But to your point, the clinical mindset, the fact that I know how to walk the talk is important. The fact that I have lived that clinical lifestyle, the on-call lifestyle, I've done it for many, many, many decades. And so I empathize, I understand it, I've lived it, done it. But the operational component is also key. So you can understand that this is how we're going to run this day, but just because this day is run this way and staffed like so with different acuity of cases, the next day is going to be different. And this is how we're going to have to adjust our sales to accommodate. And that's the beauty again of ASCs. But the one thing that most of clinicians, meaning physicians and nurses, were not trained on in our schooling was business, the business end of healthcare. We don't know the first thing about it. And so I had to teach myself and hold myself to a higher standard to learn it, give myself the rigor so that I had the right to be at the table, to have the proverbial seat at the table, but also to be able to make a convincing conversation if I needed to, using information, using data, using a P&L, talking
Right.
about your EBITDA margins and what your drivers, your cost drivers are, and what your potential is, and reading a pro forma and knowing your way around a P&L.
Yeah. It's a whole different ball game.
It is.
And I don't want to be the surgeon going in. So let's be very honest. But
Hmm.
where do you see ASCs and healthcare and all this stuff in 5 years from now?
I see them being the majority location of where we are going to have most of our surgeries. In the early 2000s, it was a really big thing to bring orthopedic sports medicine cases out to the ASC space, and it was followed quickly by total joint replacements, which have done swimmingly in the ASC space, and they should continue to do so. Then the next migration out of the health system and the main OR was spine. Now it has moved to cardiovascular, and there's also a lot of interest from the interventional radiology world, vascular access world, nephrology. Some of the older service lines that have been the cornerstone of the ASC space have been ophthalmology and endoscopy. Those have been well established, and those are perfect places to have those procedures or surgeries. So the migration is only going to continue as we have better technology, as we have other solutions. For example, back in the day, if you wanted to have a diagnostic cardiac cath, they had to access your femoral artery. Well, now they can access your radial or your brachial artery in your arm. And instead of a 7-hour recovery to keep pressure on that puncture site in your groin, you can have a closure device and have a 1 hour recovery. And I mean, that just right
Amazing.
there is amazing.
Yeah.
And you can safely do these procedures in an ASC. So in 5 years, ASCs are going to be even more dominant than they are today. They are being held from a regulatory and compliance standpoint to a much higher standard, very similar to the hospitals. And so we do hold ourselves accountable. We are transparent with our outcomes. And that is going to be the ASC space in 5 years. It's going to be a dominant part of providing care and helping the folks that want to live their best active life for as long as possible. We aren't the mindset that our great grandparents were, that when you just magically turned 60 and your hair turned white, you basically stopped
You're-
doing all the things. That's not how the baby boomer generation or the Gen X generation think. And speaking as one myself, I know I'm going to demand a higher quality of life in my activities of daily living. And if that means I need to go have, this elective ambulatory surgery to achieve that, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So this space is only going to grow. It's dynamic in the right way, and it is an elegant solution for a lot of the problems that we are currently experiencing in healthcare in America today.
That is so awesome. So where do you see Vertex 5 years from now?
I see us being a company where we are able to come alongside the physicians that want the support, the know-how, the template, the roadmap, to partner with them. I don't take this company doesn't take a position in an ASC ownership structure. We want those shares to be available for the partners to be able to recruit new surgeons, so you have a very robust succession plan. And so that makes us unique. We don't want a piece of the pie as a non-productive partner. We are there to support them and to help them achieve their goals. We stay on board basically as a monthly subscription model to help them with their governance, the regulatory compliance, and with the development of their ASC administrator, CEO, leader.
Mhm.
Nobody in healthcare, in nursing or medicine, really knew what an ASC was in nursing school or med school. None of us ever went through those spaces. For that matter, you really didn't get into the OR unless you were a surgical specialty, subspecialty. And so you don't know the perioperative space, and most people, or I would argue all people that come and work in an ASC space, are coming out of a healthcare large hospital setting. And so it's not apples to apples. It's not even apples to oranges. I mean, a health system, a periop large main OR setup, and an ASC are just completely different hemispheres. So yes, it's a great place to be in, and I think that Vertex is only going to continue to grow so we can help. We have end-to-end solutions for surgeons, and we would just love to help them achieve what it is their dreams are, and their professional goals, and some of their personal financial goals as well.
Absolutely. So, how many employees do you have today at Vertex?
So we're small. We have three, and we have a very deep bench, a 1099 bench of
Yes.
people that have a CV like myself, that are clinician nurses that have operational clinical experience, also understand the finance part. And so they're really great to support all of our endeavors and projects as a 1099, as a project management. Um, and so we're just taking our time to scale appropriately. We're not saying yes to everything because the demand is there. But as a small company, as a small business owner, you want to underpromise and overdeliver, and you
Right.
want to be able to manage the workload, and not leave somebody out in the dark or in the cold. And so we're trying to navigate how to scale appropriately, and what that looks like, and only then accept additional work and bigger projects and things like that. So it's nice to be in that position, and I'm really grateful for this. But a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, as you know, just bootstrapping a business and getting it open, and then all the lessons learned, which are infinite.
Yeah,
And I'm learning them every day as I continue to navigate my way through things.
absolutely. So, do you ever see Vertex Surgical Solutions as maybe housing multiple ASCs,
You
like
know,
in the
it
future?
it would be possible if we wanted to upstart or stand up, I would say, a management service organization. It's called an MSO. If
Yeah.
we wanted to start that and offer it to the independent ASCs, um, that would just probably be a monthly fee, or some people would just take a small percentage of the revenue if they're doing the billing and coding as well.
Yeah.
So I could see us establishing that only for the goal of helping all of these ASCs remain independent. But if they came together under an umbrella like that, then that would help with their purchasing power, with their
Yes.
negotiating power for payer contracts, for vendor contracts, implant costs, medical supplies, all of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I was asking because I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
about you can start purchasing volume and
Mm-hmm.
having some discounts and
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Rebates.
yes, absolutely. So, what has something been gifted to you as a business owner since you've now gone into this space?
Gifted to me by way of knowledge,
All
or
sorts of ways. It could be
um,
time, knowledge, just
I would
understanding more
honestly
about
say
ourselves. Like,
the gift that really is one of the most appreciated and one of the most humbling is when I have an opportunity, because somebody has given my name word of mouth.
mm,
They have said, if you're going to talk to anybody in this space, it needs to be her. This she's, she's bossy, opinionated. They lead with the truth, but then they say you really need to connect with her because she does get it. She understands it. And she can quickly get to high level where you'd like to be and where you are now. And for example, I'm somebody that could come in as a secret shopper and look at your clinical space, your procedural space, your surgical space, and say, wow, these are all the things you're doing very well. But here are some of your opportunities.
Yes,
A lot of them are usually culture, the wrong people in the wrong seats sometimes.
absolutely.
But just to let the surgeon shareholders know, this is what's holding you back. And I don't want any information ahead of a visit. I'd like to figure it out myself. But I'm ready, willing, and able to help them say, this is your current business. But if your goal is to go here, these are the steps that you're most likely going to have to navigate to get to that goal.
And if I believe correctly, you may have been a secret shopper somewhere within the Cincinnati metropolitan area too.
That's right.
Yeah. So this is
Yes.
a very cool piece for all of our listeners.
Hmm.
Guys, if there's somebody that you need to come
Hmm.
in and just evaluate and kind of see a little bit behind the scenes because Janet's been there and done it,
Yes.
you guys will have to reach out to her as she is all over the place
Yes.
in this too and sharing the wealth.
Yes. Not afraid to fly or drive.
Right, exactly. So you had mentioned technology earlier.
Yes.
How much or not at all are you guys leveraging AI in some of these aspects now?
Quite a bit, actually.
That's what I
I'm
figured.
not afraid of AI in healthcare at all. I think obviously it needs constant human supervision.
Yes.
I think it needs to be monitored, and I obviously corrected if there's, just false information, for lack of a better word. But I believe that the ASC space and the surgical space in general is ideal for AI technology. And I'll give you an example. So I have two examples actually. One is when you're in surgery and it's a heavy surgery with implants, typically, which is an orthopedic procedure. Let's just say you're having a bunionectomy of your foot. Well, there's multiple implant potential. There's some allograft material that might be implanted. All of the hardware and allograft implant, anything put into a human body has to be recorded and it has to be documented. And
Yeah.
so, for example, when you take out a certain nail that you're going to use out of the box, you take the sticker off the box that gives you the lot number, the manufacturer, the date of expiration, and any other identifying information, because the place that puts that implant into that patient's foot has to keep that record, Jennifer, for 7 years minimum. Because if there was ever going to be a recall or an
Right.
FDA safety notification, it's going to come to the place that purchased the implant. It's not necessarily going to have a way to get to the patient. And so when you receive that information at a healthcare facility, you need to be able to go look at your files to find where is that implant information and how do I let this patient know that it has this glitch or this issue.
Right.
So AI, to start at the beginning, where you have all of the material that is going in the patient during that surgery. um, I've I'm working with people right now where you can take an iPad or an iPhone and just take a picture of everything on the tray, and it'll auto populate it into your implant log. Traditionally, as a nurse, when we're doing interventions, as they're putting stents and catheters in and things like that, they hand me the sticker and I just put it on my arm all the way up. And then afterwards, I try to take each sticker off,
Yes.
but who knows if I missed one or so it's not always reliable or accurate. It's an antiquated system. And so AI would allow that quick capture. It'll populate it, and it will help you maintain your records, because think about it, it could be cloud-based now. And instead of keeping 7 years of implant records in a storage facility, you can eliminate that. You can eliminate the paper cuts, and you can eliminate that system of trying to who gets to go find the box from
Yeah.
March 2019, you know what I mean, in a storage
No.
facility. So that's one example. Another is while surgeons are operating, they could be dictating out loud about what they're doing, and AI can capture it all and put it into a post-operative H&P and a post-op note of everything that they did. And the beauty of this is the surgeon doesn't have to necessarily sit down and dictate or wait till the end of the day to fill out their electronic medical record or their paper chart, whatever it is. It will help with that downtime. And in theory and in likelihood, it could allow the surgeon the freedom to add more procedures or cases to the day because they're not being slowed down with that type of requirement. They're required to dictate right after surgery. And so this could help with what we call in the ASC space as throughput, meaning we could add more patients to the day
Nice.
because the surgeon is much more optimized and efficient using AI.
Very cool. Yes. I definitely use it each and every day on all sorts of different ways. And
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of voice to text.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So whether I'm walking or
Oh,
between
yes.
calls or
Multitasking.
absolutely.
We're all doing it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
So I do have a couple of rapid fire questions. Are you
Sure.
ready?
Yeah, go.
All right, excellent. What is the key to success for you?
Key to success for me is that I can help establish, design, build, and clinically operationalize surgery centers that I would feel comfortable having surgery in myself, and more importantly, for my family members, specifically my grandchildren. That is my metric of excellence is I want to provide that type of environment where it is safe, reliable, and consistent, and also playing by all the regulatory and compliance rules as well. So that is to me the ultimate pinnacle of a career achievement is to be able to open those quality type of surgery centers to continue to deliver excellent care.
Awesome. What is your one piece of advice to other business owners?
Do not give up. You need to claw, scrape, crawl, climb, hurdle. I mean, we could sit here all day and describe all of the action verbs of what you need to do to remain in the game, not get disenfranchised or disillusioned with, outside pressures. Understand that you have a skill set and a knowledge base that there is a need for. Your voice can and will and should be heard. It's more of the David to the Goliath, or if we're doing the female version, it's Davida. That's Davida Goliath. So we need to look out for each other as well as small business owners. And I really seek out strategic partnerships with people that offer the solutions that I readily don't offer, that I admit that is not my strong suit. I don't need to be all things to all people and
Right.
spread myself so thin. I need to stay focused on this area only. And this is my area of expertise. But then I have people that I totally trust to handle all the other aspects of running a business like a surgery center.
Well
So
said. Yes.
please don't give up. I battle that myself all the time. Like, what am I doing? But then you get the prize, basically in the Cracker Jack box, you finally find it. But that prize is seeing something from concept and initial meeting to full fruition to design, development, construction, and then actually naming it and creating the organization and then having it see patients. And and offering that type of healthcare in your community, that is so rewarding.
Absolutely. And well said. Strategic partnerships are so instrumental and important, and we can't be everything to everyone. And so
No.
leveraging others is
Mhm.
it's essential, especially as business owners.
It really is key. And it's really good to know who you can call to help you
Mhm.
navigate something that you haven't seen before, but you think they have or they have experience, because I do that for people all the time. I have so many colleagues out there that are similar to myself that are wanting to get out of the what's the proverbial grind and wanting to consult. And instead of saying, "Hey, come join my company," what can I do to help you? And even if you go open your own LLC, let's collaborate together, and I can help you or you can help me. But there's so much demand out there. We don't need to be competitive.
No,
There,
abundance.
there's more demand than there is supply. So I have doubled down on strategic partnerships with with much success because I have created these relationships of trust, and integrity to me is key. That's everything. And if you don't have it, you really don't have a brand. So I like people calling me, but I also like the ability to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, can you walk me through this because I'm legally blonde. I don't know what I'm doing."
Stop it. Awesome. All right. What is a book or a podcast that you're reading or listening to right now?
Book that I'm reading is called The Covenant of Water,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's by an author who is himself also a physician. I got introduced to his works quite a while ago with his book that came out called Cutting for Stone. And so Cutting for Stone was my former favorite book, and I think Covenant of Water, the newer book, is probably going to take its place.
Awesome. All right. Here's a fun question. You ready?
Okay.
All
Hmm.
right. If you had a little bit of magic dust that you could sprinkle over one part of the business, what would it be?
It would be for people to respond and get back to you in a timely fashion. uh, because it really depends on the need. But for example, say you're trying to get a facility up and going and under contract, a physical location, but you need the pro forma done and you need the input from the surgeon, and you can't show the lender the whole picture if you don't have this information. And so what you're scrambling around to do is trying to gather and basically nip everyone in the heels to kind of shepherd them to give you that information. That would be the thing that I would say would, magic unicorn dust, be for people to get back to you in a timely fashion so you can move on to the next thing. So,
Absolutely. So before we get to the final question of the day, how can
mhm.
people reach out to you, Janet? Because I'm sure there are ASCs up here in the Cincinnati metropolitan area that
There
need
are. Yes. I have a website, so vertexsurgicalsolutions.com, and my email is real difficult. It's Janet at Vertex Surgical Solutions with an S.com.
excellent. All right. So our final question of the day,
Uh-huh.
what is most inspiring to you today?
The most inspiring thing to me today is the increasing, I'm going to call it a tsunami wave of surgeons that are seeking independence and autonomy. That is so encouraging, and it also is affirming to let me know that I am in the right space, I am in the right business, and I am uniquely positioned to be able to help collaborate with them and partner with them.
Yes. And thank you for being there because these surgeons definitely need you so that then they continue to be successful and
Yes.
to thrive. So I
I'd
really
like to
appreciate it.
also kind of take a position where I want to make sure I protect them
Mm,
from what they don't know yet. And I take that's my own ethos, but I do take that approach of I'm really trying to help you establish something, but I'm also trying to help you avoid what not to do.
yes, excellent. Well, this was a great conversation. I really enjoyed hearing your story and, of course, you
Thank you.
sharing it with all of us. Greatly appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity. You're so kind to host.
Oh, thank you. And of course, I encourage all of you who are listening to like and subscribe because you want to get notifications when we have new episodes drop. But most importantly, you want to save this episode and come back to it because I'm sure you know someone who needs Janet and her team. And so we can make our world even better than where we are today.
Mhm.
So, of course, Janet, thank you so much for all your great
You're
insight.
welcome.
And we do appreciate you and the whole Vertex Surgical Solutions team. So, thank you.
Thank you.